Hello and welcome to this week's Spiritual Medicine Digest. My name is Dr. Karen Kan, and I'm the founder of the Academy of Light Medicine and the Topekan Healing Method. So if you're new to my channel, would love for you to hit this subscribe button. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and feel free to share it. This week's topic is around accepting the ego. So I used to think after reading these books and about spirituality and things like that, that I really needed to get rid of my ego, that my ego was somehow bad and flawed and nasty and, transcend the ego and, all that kind of stuff. And I think that I misunderstood all those teachings because I realize now that the ego has its role. It's just that sometimes we have, given it a different role, and that has caused some problems in our everyday lives, preventing us from experiencing freedom and joy and even potentially love. So this past week, a beautiful soul in my Health Freedom tribe mentioned to me that she was curious as to why she's been on multiple different Zooms and classes with very, very prominent, well-known and even famous healers. And she was quite taken aback because on some of these Zooms, she noticed them with a mask on. And I have to say, when she told me, I did giggle. So maybe that was judgmental on my part. Anyway, the point is like, why are these really super famous, supposedly healers, who are claiming to heal the sea, we won't say the word, with their healing modality and specialty, why are they understanding it as some sort of thing, whereas many of us that are not so famous, that perhaps have been censored the last few years, have a, let's just say, a more expanded perception of what's really going on and how the body really heals. If there is a toxin, the body does respond to the toxin to try to get rid of the toxin, to try to heal the toxin, right? And we're finding out that a lot of these trillions of so-called germs that are in our bodies actually need to be there, otherwise we would die. So what's this got to do with ego? Well, here's the thing. I was speaking with a colleague of mine who is definitely getting up there in fame and things like that and doing wonderful work. And there was an incident in his family that was very tragic. And because of the work that we both do, potentially, we could be the targets of what people call the dark forces. Now, I like to say we love them into the light, so neither of us are scared of those things, and we just realize it's just the darker aspects of the collective that we are now faced with to heal and love and integrate, if you will, into our wholeness. So I was saying to him, because of this incident, that in order for us to do our work on the grander scale, to really, really be effective and not sell out, as possibly some of my colleagues have over the last few years, we have to be willing to give up everything. Give up our mailing list, give up our famousness, give up our needing to have a certain amount of money or lifestyle or whatever it is. Because some of those things, when we get attached to them, and this is what the Buddhists were trying to get to, and I was misunderstanding before, is that our attachments to these material things and how things should be sometimes can get the best of us. And that can be a weak link to really making the biggest difference we can. Now, I've had disagreements with some friends of mine, a newer friend of mine. I was saying about a particular teacher that was speaking at this particular forum that I would not be speaking at, no matter how much money they paid me or no matter how much money they said they were going to donate on my behalf, because of the association with that forum that I did not resonate with. So some people maybe think, maybe this is the ego thinking, oh, I can make a difference, right? If they hear it from me and a lot of people follow them, more people will come to the light. Maybe that's true. I'm not really sure. I just got a hard no when I even considered it. So sometimes we just have to follow our own intuition. And in fact, this particular friend, I thought was very interesting. She wanted me to be an elder in a specific thing that she was creating. And then I was following over time what was going on. And she's a lovely individual, and she's highly spiritual. I just found it was very interesting that she wanted me to be a big part of something she was creating, yet she actually doesn't know what I do. I mean, theoretically, she knows what I do. And, we did have a conversation about some things that I do, but, I did ask her, hey, I haven't seen you on our monthly free mini healings. You don't have any of my classes, courses, like, how do you know that you desire to have me contribute to this thing you're building if you actually don't know what I do and haven't experienced it? And she said, well, my intuition says, I don't need to. So again, feeling in the ego, you see, this is where the ego can be a problem. The good part is the ego is part of our individuality. So if we did not have an ego, we wouldn't have uniqueness, if you will. So I've come to grips with that part. That is awesome. Yay, ego. The dark side of the ego, however, and I could hear it, if you will, in the background, or feel it more likely, is that, oh, if I were to put in words, I'm not clairaudient with my ego, but anyway, the idea is if I were to put in words, the ego would be saying, and this is, remember, the dark side of the ego, oh, she's got money, she's got connections, didn't you see who she interviewed, X number of weeks ago, days ago, years ago, and these famous people that she's with, don't you want to be associated with them? Don't you want to have a bigger tribe and make a bigger difference, Dr. Karen? Being associated with this person and all the people she could connect you to? Yeah, that's what the ego was saying. But there was a part of me that was like, this doesn't add up to this. This doesn't make sense. Right? Now, I have other people completely not famous and does not have a lot of money either, right? Necessarily, some of them do, that are like, I love your stuff. Okay, I've watched every single spiritual medicine digest. I've got this course, and I've done your Topekan level 1, and I'm working on myself, right? And oh my gosh, in the first few weeks, this happened, miracles happened. I did weather magic. I have your book, blah 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 blah. Right? I did this on my parent, my pet, my child. Oh my gosh, I'm having such amazing results. And it's funny because some of them are like, fangirl, and I'm like, I don't even know what that is. I have to look that up. And I think it's funny because I was like, well, I'm just me and you're the one doing the work. So yay, you! I get super excited for them. See, those people for me are a yes, right? So part of the work is putting my ego in check. The more famous, the more money, the bigger the team, the more risk that's involved, the more people that would be affected or disappointed by any decision the CEO makes, right? That can be where the dark side of the ego can play. And that is the chink in the armor, so to speak, of the spiritual protection. Like I said to my colleague, we have to be willing to let it all go. And at the same time, I say to the universe, okay, you want me to do this work? You're going to have to provide support. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Show me my money. Show me my support. Show me the way. I will do my work over here, right? And do you want me to do something different and let this all fall apart? Okay. Okay. I'm just going to keep listening, right, to the guidance. And this has been very freeing for me. And I don't know if you can kind of feel that in by listening to my voice, and maybe feel it in your body as well. There's so many let's just say the more seen we are, the more opportunities there are for certain other energies to try to grab onto that popularity or grab onto or try to grab onto the parts that are egoic. Um, and sometimes it's easier to tell because they give you a little guilt trip, right? I haven't had this recently, but like why wouldn't you want to do this? Sort of like when have you ever had like people come to the door and they want you to donate to some cause, hungry children somewhere, right? And then, and you're like, no, thank you. And they persist. And you're like, no, thank you. If you're good at nirvana of no, right? That's in one of my chapters in the sensitivity of superpower book. And they still persist. And then they do the guilt trip. And they go, you don't want to help hungry children in such and such a place? And then you start getting pissed off, right? Because it's manipulative, right? You start getting resentful. And sometimes you cave in. Actually, you wouldn't cave in, would you? Yeah, I did before. But we can cave in just to shut them up because of the guilt that we feel. So there are many different ways where the dark forces or darkness can try to manipulate us through our ego. We need our ego. And the more we try to shun the ego, sometimes it's worse. Because there's a judgment, and the judgment is ego or egoic. Yeah, it's kind of tricky, isn't it? So there have been opportunities that have come. I have another one that one of my business coaches had said, hey, I just met this woman at a networking event. She has a business that could really help you with your operations, and I got her, to lower the price $2,000. The first client that I thought, I'd offer it to you. And if you don't want to take it, I'll offer it to somebody else. But you're the first person I thought of. And I'm like, so sweet, right? I love my coaches. They're so amazing. Anyway, so I, read the name of the website and did what I teach people to do in like Warrior Training Camp and in the book, right? Intuitive impressioning. It was a no. Here's the thing, looks good on paper. There was nothing wrong on paper, on the website, like nothing wrong with this person. Sounds like a really great deal, right? But the part of the ego was like, oh, come on, this will be so much easier. You don't have to do the search by yourself. Somebody else is going to do the heavy lifting. They're going to do the work. Oh my gosh, you're going to have such freedom of time, etc. Right? Yes, but the wherewithal, though, is to go within, go into stillness through observing to a moment, feel it, and get a no. Now, of course, the mind's like, but why? But why? Right? And I'm like, okay, let's check it out. So, checked out the light score. Woo, not so good. Not so good. Yeah, like terrible. So, does the owner of that company have entities? Well, not anymore. But still, there wasn't an alignment, right? There wasn't a resonant match. It wasn't an energetic match with that company, even though on paper, looked like the solution. So again, the ego very disappointed in me. But the higher self is like, okay, we're good. So here's the thing. Our egos are not the bad guy. They can be super helpful and useful and give us our uniqueness. Give us a human experience as a spirit. That's what it's for. It can be cool. And sometimes we can get into egoic things, but it's not to shun it, shame it, do any of these things, which are, again, egoic, right? We get into the dark side by trying not to deal with the ego. But if we love the ego, it can serve us. And so we can use the ego when it's helpful to use it, and then not use it, if you will, when it's not helpful to use it. So I'm just so thrilled and happy and glad that I can tune in. And this is what I love teaching people, how to tune into their own divine wisdom to get those yeses or nos. It doesn't have to necessarily be with my method of divine muscle testing, or maybe you did use the pendulum or divination tool or something else, or maybe just get an internal feeling, yes or no. Perhaps you did intuitive impressioning like I did, that I talk about in my book. Whatever method you use, it doesn't really matter about the method. If we can connect to the still point, if we can connect to our bodies, if we can be fully grounded in our bodies, our energy, then we can get more accurate answers. And the ego can do what it does when it needs to do it. And we can love it, appreciate it. So today's Topekan healing activation is all around that love and acceptance of the ego, to know when the ego is useful and when it is not, and to be able to more deeply tune in to your own divine wisdom and let go of attachments, whether that be to money, to status, to fame, to being seen, being heard. I mean, there's all these things, right? Is it easy for most people who are famous to let go of everything? No, probably not, right? But let's send them love too. Okay, so if you're ready and you're able to do so, you can just kind of stamp your feet, rub your hands, get some energy and vital force running through the body, and just relax. Close your eyes if it's safe for you to do so. Tune into the body, so focus inwards. Feel any movement, buzzing, vibration, waves in the body where you moved and elsewhere. Just follow the flow wherever it goes. See if you can even fly out to encompass the whole body in the feeling state. And as you feel the vibrations, as you feel the movement in the body, you're actually coming to and through the 0 point, the seed of all creation. Continue feeling the energy in your body. I'll speak some Topekan healing activations to get things going. I now command any resistance to loving and accepting our egos be healed and transformed and shifted in the highest and best way, all directions of time, with speed, ease, and grace. Is now commanded that any issues, problems, imbalances causing or contributing to us not being able to discern what is for our highest and greatest good, and the highest and greatest good of all, anything where the ego is interfering with that, be healed and transformed and shifted in the highest and best way, all directions of time, with speed, ease, and grace. I now command that any fear or anxiety of being willing to let go of everything and all of our attachments and all of our thoughts of what we think life should be and how it should happen, be healed and resolved in the highest and best way, all directions of time, with speed, ease, and grace. Is now commanded that the positive morphic field of being able to fully embrace our experiences, fully embrace the letting go of all attachments to how things should be, and embracing the now and being present and loving of ourselves, our egos, and everything else. Be downloaded and activated with ease, speed, and grace in the highest and best way in all directions of time and all timelines where we exist. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And now command this healing be integrated and grounded with ease and grace for this and all the blessings. We give our thanks and gratitude. So be it, and so it is. Ooh, I would love some feedback. How did that feel in your body? Go ahead and comment below. And if you have any ahas related to what we talked about today, I would love to hear and listen and have you share in the comments as well. And remember, if you like this video, go ahead and share it and give it a thumbs up too. I do have some announcements for this week. I had a lovely, lovely, beautiful conversation with my friend Kim Parker, who, by the way, talks to dragons. We met during our training in the Activator Healer Coach Program, and our topic for Light Warrior Radio is around remembering our divinity. And we talked a lot about cleansing, both physically and non-physically, and how important that is, and some real key golden nuggets around what if you've been, quote unquote, struggling for years, maybe decades, with physical symptoms. Where do you go from that? There's some pretty amazing wisdom in this podcast. So we're going to air it Monday at noon. I will put the link below, and I hope you love it as much as I did. All right, so I have some other announcements as well. We have our monthly free mini healings in the light medicine community. And so I'll put the link below where you can come in live. Just so you know, even if you can't come in live, when you put your healing request using the type form that we have, you'll be included in that 24-hour healing basket. And then you can watch the replay of the monthly mini healings and get the benefit, even if you are not live. And a lot of times people, even though they know they've received the healing, sometimes when they actually watch the healing on the replay, at the moment that we do the directive, that's when they feel it. It's almost like the healing's in the field, and when their mind goes, oh, that's what happened, right? Then they actually feel it in the body, which is really cool. So don't worry if you can't come live, because there will be a replay. I'm going to set that up for you. So put in your requests below. Also, a very exciting event is happening on August 20th. Yes, my good friend, publisher, and filmmaker Keith Leon S. has an amazing workshop coming up, Silencing the Committee in Your Head. Like when, oh yeah, parts, sometimes egoic, parts of us are like, you can't do this, you're not good enough, no one understands you, I'm being misunderstood. Like there's all these things. You can't, you shouldn't, blah, 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 you know? Yeah. So that is very common. But lucky for us, Keith is going to do this amazing workshop webinar on how to silence that committee. He's going to give us 10 amazing steps and tips on how to do that. So this is particularly powerful if you are ready to be heard and to be seen, to become a healer, a speaker, a coach. If you're ready for that next step of being seen, being heard, and it resonates with you to do this kind of work, this is extra good for you. So I will put the link, the time, the details below this video that you can come in for free, thanks to me. There's the ego right there. Anyway, I'm super excited for you to join us on that date. I will be there with bells on. All right. Well, that's it for this week. Thank you so much for being here, spending your time with me. And if you just, haven't done so, I'd love for you to hit the subscribe button. And if you enjoy this video, please let me know. Much love. Until next week. Bye for now.